God, the psychic world, high soul psyches, light workers, all inhabitants of planet Earth. Welcome to Psychic World with your host for this evening. We've been talking about massive cleanup, part 2. We're on one topic of the Luciferian experiment. Talking about the technology that involved in the production of the holographic protected field was a highly developed form of technology. Was this part of the Luciferian experiment? Listening in? Yes, it is. As we go forth, lots of things have been going on. Lots of changes that have been going on that we want to keep continuing in the age of Aquarius to explain and the definite that are going forth. And that's part of the ascension, that's a part of moving forward in the universe and not staying stuck on this level, but moving toward progress, success, expansion, creativity. Interesting, right? Well, I'm excited because we have a lot of things that are going forth as technology, breakthroughs, things that have been held back. This is the horse year. Remember 2014, the year of the horse, where people are standing up and being recognized and not taking no for answers. Now remember, Lucifer was one of the most incredible angels that God ever made. He had a flaw, however. He thought he was good. He thought he was good at God. Now remember, Lucifer knew the creativity pattern, which is the Merkaba. Creationary. Operated where he knew the creationary pattern, the Merkaba. But it was originally intended to be enacted only internally. Creating it internally meant you had to have your emotional body intact along with your mental body, which protected you. It's interesting. So I'll say that again. Creating it internally meant you had to have your emotional body intact along with your mental body, which protected you. Now, Lucifer went one step further. He dared to do the obvious and created it externally. The externally means outside the physical realm. By separating himself from God, the source he was in fact not able to do it internally. Yet initially, prior to the consequences, he thought, no big deal. He does it internally. I'll do it externally. So he was doing anything the opposite. Some old Merkaba. No, he was saying the same old Merkaba. This is like saying to the hydrogen bomb, group of you, you're the same as love because it is bright and hot. Externalizing the Merkaba was a billion times more serious. Now, this type of experiment against God had been attempted 3 times before. The one that affected our planet, and it always ended in total chaos. The last Luciferian rebellion was about 200,000 years ago, and at the same time, he convinced about a third of his angels to join him. About 1 million years ago, the race on Mars was dying from the effects of an earlier Luciferian rebellion. I'm going to stop there because I want you to know exactly what Merkaba is. We're going to go into that. It talks about the Merkaba. What is the Merkaba? Okay. Now the star Titanium, tetrahedron, is made up of 2 interlocking tetrahedrons in a matter that resembles the Star of David. But there are three-dimensionally. Now, the 2 interlocking tetrahedrons represent male and female energy in a perfect balance. Remember what I shared with you before. We are in the Christ grid around the planet now is the female energy. The tetrahedron facing up is male, and the one facing down is female. There's a star tetrahedron field around everything, not just our body. We're talking about the Merkaba here. There's also a tube that runs through the body. It connects to the apexes of the star, the tetrahedral field. Learning how the breeze through the tube combines with rotating the field produces a Merkaba, a vehicle of ascension. Okay, bear with me. We have a physical body, a mental body, and an emotional body. That's three. That's where the Trinity, the three comes in. And they all have star tetrahedral shapes. These are three identical fields superimposed over each other. The only difference among them being that the physical body alone is locked. In other words, I'll say it again. There are three identical fields superimposed over each other. The only difference among them being that the physical body alone is locked. It does not rotate. The Merkaba is created by counter-rotating fields of energy. The mental star tetrahedron field is electrical in nature, male, and rotates to the left. Now the emotional star tetrahedron field is a magnetic in nature. It's the female, and it rotates to the right. Still talking about the Merkaba here. Here's the linking together of the mind, heart, and the physical body in a specific geometrical ratio and a critical speed that produces the Merkaba. It has ties into deep sacred geometry and actually math, as we call it math. Now the word MER, M-E-R, donates counter rotating fields of light. Ka. I'm breaking down the word Merkaba. Ka is the spirit, and Ba is the body of reality. So the Merkaba then is a counter-rotating field of light and encompasses the spirit and body, and it is a vehicle, a time-space vehicle. Was the Merkaba a time-space vehicle? This is the image through which all things were created, a geometrical set of patterns surrounding our bodies. That image begins at the base of our spine, as small as the original 8 cells from which our physical bodies first formed. From there, it extends out a full 55 feet in diameter. Interesting. Again, the counter-rotating field of light of the Merkaba comprised of a time-space vehicle. Once you know how to activate these fields, you can use your Merkaba to travel throughout the universe. That has to do with ascension. On most terrestrial people, the Merkaba is not functioning. It says about one guy, Gerangelo, says about 2,000 people on the planet whose Merkaba are functioning. That's not a lot, is it? And about 8,000 ascended masters who reside on another level of Earth consciousness. Now remember, we're talking about level consciousness. We're on a third level planet, which is very low level, with second conscious level. Third level planet and dimension, and second level conscious, which we should be fifth level conscious in order to make that ascension. Actually, fourth level is good to make that ascension also. We move equivalent. And we don't want to be stuck on a third level planet. Now, remember, we assume we are the greatest thing that ever lived on this planet. In truth, according to the envelope, There have been civilizations so far ahead of us that we can't even imagine them. Now, civilization on this earth goes back over 500 million years. The planet is a star seed in which external life forms have come from all over, combined with each other, generated new life forms and left. Each of the life forms they created have gone through 5 levels of consciousness. Right now, we're on the second level of the 5 consciousness of the 5. Yes, we're on the second level. So there's still a lot of work to do. Almost all the evidence from past advanced civilizations have put out of context or ignored. I repeat that. All the evidence from past advanced civilizations has been put out of context or ignored. For instance, we have a connection with the star Sirius, about which little is known, which is essential to understanding our present flight. It's interesting. For more than 700 years, this group has information that presumably it cannot have information our scientists have had for only the last 20 years or so. They talked about a tribe near Timbuktu in Africa called the Dagons. They have information that scientists today are just getting hold of. So, come out of the finite mind of your eyes above this earthly plane, expand your understanding, and move on forward. Now remember, in the Luciferian experiment, everything is housed in the monetary system, which is their hierarchy government. Everything is built. We counterfeit, basically, hieroglyphics. And it's proven through science when you look at the masses, the forms, the solids. They're not really solid. They're being held together as dots that are moving. That's what you call a external Merkaba. That's the form field. It's not the real. It's the counterfeit. You ever seen counterfeit money or someone trying to make the original, copy the original? That's exactly what the Luciferian experiment is doing. It's copying the original. It's copying the laws of the universe, copying the internal Merkaba that is our emotional body, our spirit, our counter-rotating body. It goes forth. So that's not real. So that's why you hear the saying of the things that are seen are temporary, the things that are not seen are internal, external, eternal. That means goes on and on and on. Interesting. That's very interesting. So in the master cleanup, you see the side effects of the Luciferian experiment. It's been tried 3 times and it's failed 3 times and it's gone forth again. And you see the side effects of chaos, imbalance, no ascension, not evolving forward, no creativity, mankind and the ego wind up getting more, on one side, to put it out like to hear, intellectual barbarians. Not really advancing to the point that you coincide with the universe that is constantly moving and expanding forward. Very interesting. Now, we talk about Lucifer, one of the most incredible angels that God ever made. He had a flaw, however. He thought he was good as God. Lucifer knew that creationary pattern. The Mercury, we talked about that. It was originally intended to be interactive, only internally. Creating it internally meant that you had to have your emotional body intact along with your mental body, which protected you. Remember, you want to step further, you be able to do the obvious and created it externally. This is a no-no. By separating himself from God. So that right there, separating and not in agreement, was part of the side effect that it didn't work. Now, the source he was in fact not able to do is it internally, yet invisibly prior to the consequences. He thought, no big deal. And I already said it before, he'll do it internally. Externally. I'll do it externally. I don't have to do it internally. I'll just copy it. Same on Merkaba, and we share that. Now, this is the type of experiment against God that has been attempted 3 times, remember, and that has affected our planet. And it always ended, remember, in total chaos. And we talked about a million years ago, the race on Mars was dying from the same effect of the earlier Lucifer of rebellion. The third one, the planet was terminating from Merkaba's run amok. When you created Merkaba internally, I just shared with you what it is, using love or your emotional body, that's our love link. When I talk about love link, we're talking about connecting with the universe and staying connected, not working independently or separating ourselves. Love link, it constantly flows. It becomes a living feel around your body, but when you create it externally, you don't have to use love. That's where Lucifer made his mistake. You only have to use the calculating mind. That's where logic comes in. That's where left side technology comes in. And not using the right side, there's no balance. Ultimately, there's straight ego. Ultimately, straight logic. Ultimately, this act produces a being with only a less brain who doesn't have the emotional body or understand love. The best example such erases the graves. The graves were descendants of the Martians. And one of the alien races now visiting Earth. Another effect of creating a Merkaba externally is that the act itself is generated of duality. I shared before, the act of creating a Merkaba externally is that act itself is generated of duality. How could it be? Since it utilizes in order to externalize and turn emotions into technology. So you got 2 forces here coincide working separately, independently. Once everything is dualized, and running on motors, it becomes more and more difficult to perceive the one spirit that moves through everything, so we see good and evil. Even though the one spirit is still present in an external created world. It is incredible difficult to discern. And that's where you have to really tie into the universe and discern exactly which is real and what's not. That is really interesting and important. I don't want to go any further than that till I go back to where I was talking about interesting. There was a kind of continual, okay, now the world had been created by an internal process in which the figures from sacred geometry were taken as patterns. The things of this world were produced by imagining the world into existence according to these patterns. There was a kind of continually flow, or if you would like, a love link between creator and creation. Because everything that was created flowed directly from the creator's being, the other archangels like Michael, Gabriel, and so forth remaining within the love link. Now remember, the love link ties into the universe. Their way of getting about in the world was through a light body and through the continued expression of their harmonious alignment with the Creator. And it seems that for most of our life in the universe, the way things happen, the way things are done is through the light body. Now remember, dolphins, for instance, live this way. They have nothing outside of themselves. They have everything they need via the internal muscular field. They can do anything they want without experiencing conflict among themselves. Can you say that about beings, human beings, Homo sapiens, human beings? They don't need technology at all. So Lucifer wished to create in a way that was different from God's way. To do this, he had to separate God's love from his creativity. In short, what he did was invert left brain technology, a way of creating things and making things happen by cold, objective logic and the manipulation of material reality according to the laws that had nothing whatsoever to do with inner being. Now remember, the Dolphins had their own internal workflow. They didn't need technology. They were actually moving into like telepathic. That's how they related with each other. They didn't conflict with each other. Now the external workflow, that was different because of the Luciferian experiment. It creates an illusion like you have everything within the system, which the system has failed and is constantly failing and is deteriorating. You can see just through the cutbacks, you can see through things changing. That's why I shared with you different words about not to trust in uncertain riches. People started leaning like a drug addict on the system and depending on everything to house it, to take care of it. That was the artificial Merkaba. That's not your source. Your source lies within the universe, within the Creator, and moves forward in you, bringing forth your energy that's within you, bringing forth the creativity out of you that expands in your mind to rise above this earthly frame where you can constantly be organic, your own self, and not be created into like a cookie cutter type field, looking like everybody does the same thing. Everybody goes this way or goes this way, go with the masses of crowds, then you can't go forward because you wind up losing your identity in the external economy, external system. So where's your Merkaba? How to activate your own personal Merkaba? You're gonna have to like undo a lot of things, relearn a lot of things, start moving more into a more nature connection. It's really interesting. I will take a call right now. I don't know if someone has a question that I can ask because I'm not finished because there's a lot to cover on the cleanup, on the massive cleanup. It all ties in. And we're looking at a lot of the side effects that's going forth with the experiment. I want to thank you for calling in and people that have been listening in on the show. I want to thank you for your emails and support and letters and open mind. Different crowds come in, people come and go and listen. People have itching ears. They want to hear this and that, and this real, is this not. Well, people can believe things or not, but when things happen, it happens. And as a manifestation of things changing on this planet, polar shift, worldwide, global events, you got, different shapeshifters. You got people moving from all different places and being relocated. And it's constantly a movement. And when you see that type of movement, you see the same type of movement that's in the universe, that things are happening fast. You can't see it by being inside the system, how fast and rapidly things are happening. But basically, it is. Every time into the universe, you can see the difference. You can feel the energy and the things that are going forth in this modern world, in this technology, in the system, and how things are basically changing, being replaced, what's not working and what is working. And I shared before how the old paradigm is, refusing to leave, is putting up a fight, while the new paradigm, which is energy, is moving in and replacing that old because of the ascension. And the universe is talks about the universe and how it works here on this planet. Now remember, all power is subject to higher power. So with or without this resistance or without you believing it or not, it's inevitable and it's happening in the age of Aquarius, the age of hope, the age of changes, because we tie into what Uranus, which is the planet of change, which is the planet of rebellion. It actually does not coincide with man-made laws, man-made rules, because of the duality here on this planet. The yin and the yang, the ego, and the spirit, the evil, good as you see it. All of that is duality. The external and the internal duality. The counterfeit and the original duality. So this is what we are dealing with. And people see what they want to see, like I said before. The dolphins, they at one time could walk on this planet. They refused to do because of their knowledge and internal intuition. And they are the smartest mammals, the second smartest mammals on this planet is the dolphins. The first one is the whales, the orchid whales. Why? Because they're using both sides of their brain capacity, left and right. And the dolphins are using both sides of their brain capacity, left and right. When the dolphins sleep, they don't sit down. They don't sleep like we do. They sit down just one part of their brain, and the other one stays alert. And the dolphins do see us at sleep, a lot of us at sleep, because we only, the most intelligent people here on this earth, we only use like 10 to 15% of the brain capacity, while the dolphins are using the whole, both sides. So basically they're tying into gifts that a lot of mankind have lost, and not gotten hold back to, got stuck on this level and not able to move into it, what they've lost. So they're moving into telepathic, they're moving into time portal, transferring of time, and moving into a lot of gift energy that we as human beings, as you would say, beings on this planet can't move into because of only using 10 to 15% of the brain capacity. The laws of the earth, the law of what? The universe. So you're looking at duality, and that's very important. That's two. So you got the universe that's moving through everything, and you got the external world that's trying to move through everything. It's trying to do just like God. And remember, within their own system, everything is built within their own system as counterfeit to make it look like it's real, which is really delusional. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I know that it's a show. I have a show on Sunday at 11 o'clock p.m. and also Thursday, 11 o'clock p.m. on the Master Cleanup, the Luciferian Experiment. We'll continue to talk about that. There's a lot to cover, a lot of interesting things that are happening, a lot of supernatural things that are happening that people can't explain. I'll be covering also. This is Doc with Psychic World. Thank you for tuning in and listening in. If you have any questions, email me. I appreciate it. And call me and email me your questions. And have a good night. Just watch yourself out there. And I will say this, look out for white panel vans. I'll talk to you more about that. Keep your eyes open.